So I know I said in the last devlog, I was going to try to get our video out within the next month, and it ended up not happening, but I have a good reason for that. Mock kinda sucked. Not to mention, we really needed a redesign of the character really badly, and I'm going to cover all that in this video, but first, I'd like to cover something you guys have probably all noticed already. The channel name is no longer Junkie Studios. There's a few reasons for this. One, I really didn't like the name Junkie Studios, and I'm also not a studio. I'm one person. I don't think that name fit this channel good at all. I think Yin's Pixel has a lot more character and says a lot more about me and fits this channel for what I'm trying to accomplish a lot better than Junkie Studios. But I know you guys didn't come here to hear about the channel updates, so if you want to hear more about that, stay tuned towards the end of the video and I'll go over that more in detail. But I know you guys all came here to hear about the changes of Mock. Let's get straight into that. The last 4 devlogs, I really haven't done much. I only showed off some new features of the game, but there's more than just features that make a game. I want to actually talk a little bit about the story. Now this is just going to be a brief outline of the story, because I don't want to spoil too much, but I want to let you guys know what's actually going on with the story. Mock is on a personal mission. His last planet was destroyed by an uncontrollable cosmic force. Mock was the only survivor, and he carries the guilt of not being able to protect his family and friends. He heard about the powers of the cosmic shards, and he feels they can help bring back his family, friends, and his home planet. He sets off to collect all these cosmic shards, not knowing that collecting them is slowly destroying and draining this universe of its powers. Mock will eventually be faced with a decision if he should continue his mission of draining this universe that will surely be destroyed, save his home planet, or let this planet keep all of its cosmic shards and have no hope of seeing his family and friends again. I know this is just a brief outline of the story. I really don't want to cover too much about it right now because I don't want to spoil anything, but it feels important to let you guys know the type of story that's going to be happening during this game. Let's dive into one of the biggest changes, Mock's model. Mock has gone through 5 different revisions, each building upon the last. By the 4th redesign, I knew that the old model just wasn't going to work, but I don't think the other 4 were a waste of time. I learned what I liked and I didn't like about Mock's model. I'm actually really excited about his new model. It brings a lot more character to the table. It fits what I was trying to go for in the beginning. I think this new design has a more sci-fi and tribal look to it. It fixes a lot of things I didn't like about the old model. One of them actually being his hair. If you noticed on the old model, his hair was only in the back, and this is something that really bugged me from the beginning. I don't know why I continued to go through with this design when I didn't like the hair at all. That was one thing I really wanted to address in this new redesign. Another and the most obvious reason for the redesign was making him look less like Sonic. And I saw a lot of comments in the videos and on Discord saying that the model wasn't unique. It was just Sonic. And let's be honest, he basically had soap shoes. So it was clear that that model needed to change. I'd also like to give a special shout out to 2 amazing artists who made this model possible. Without them, I don't know where I'd be with this project. They really helped a lot with this new model. Their names being Farhan and Bruno. I'll leave a link in the description for them so you can check them out on your own time. One thing I'm actually really excited about this model is a new material. Before, the last model had 4 materials, where this model only has 1. This material is also extremely customizable. I'm really excited about this because I can make different costumes for Mock. I'm planning on making about 50, but if you guys have any suggestions on what you'd like to see, leave a comment below. And I might just use one of your ideas. Another big change was the physics. Like I said before, Mock just really sucked. It wasn't fun and had a ton of bugs. It just didn't feel good to control. It was extremely slidey. It was really hard to platform. I wanted to completely redo the physics. I figured this would take about a month. But 6 months later, I was actually satisfied for what I had. I can't go over all the physics changes in this video, but I'd like to cover a few here. One of them being the friction. Before, the friction was just a set value, and it really made Mock feel slidey. This wasn't good for the type of platforming I wanted to have. I want to have really tight platforming. Instead, I decided to go with a more dynamic approach. The way this works is until you hit a certain speed, the friction doesn't affect Mock actually. So moving really slow, Mock will still come to a complete stop. Once you achieve this speed though, the faster Mock is going, the more friction he'll have. Though if he's going slower, the less friction he'll have. This allows Mock to actually slow down out of his movement, but also not feel slidey. It really adds a lot to the game. Satisfied with this, I want to take a look at the dynamic gravity and Mock's rotation. One problem I have with Mock is running up any type of huge slope, Mock would just flick into a random direction. And as you can probably tell, that doesn't really feel too good. So I needed to really address this. This took a long time, but I'm actually really satisfied with how this came out. This was a huge update to movement. No matter the slope or the angle, you have full control over Mock. Mock no longer just randomly flicks in a random direction. That being said, I want to get into rail grinding a bit. I actually showcased at the SFF this year, and a lot of people seem to actually really like the rail grinding. Not to mention, the people that I had playtest the game also enjoyed this rail grinding. I thought it was too much, but after hearing the feedback, I decided to actually clean it up and make it a lot better. If you're wondering how it works, I added a balancing feature. If the the rail is moving to the left, Mock will begin to fall off the rail to the left. And if you don't do anything, Mock will eventually fall off the rail. You can actually counteract this by pushing the analog stick in the opposite direction. That being said, the faster you're going, and how far you're actually leaning in that direction already, is going to control how fast you can actually get them back to center. Another thing I added to the rails was a QTE system. You might have noticed a little blue bar moving around the rails. If you get the little Mock head within that blue bar, you'll be prompted with a QTE. If you hit the QTE correctly, you actually get a boost of speed. If you choose to not hit a button or hit the wrong button, you'll lose speed actually. Depending on how fast you're going on a rail, you'll have less time to react to the QTE. Getting that boost of speed though could be essential for going up certain slopes, so I did add momentum to the rails. One thing I'm still deciding if I want to do is if I want to have Mock slide down the rail once he loses enough speed. This is actually implemented in the game right now, but it just doesn't feel right. It feels weird when you lose enough speed and you start going the opposite direction. It's still up for debate though, if I want to remove that feature or not. Another feature I made a lot of changes to that I'd like to talk about is the turbo dash. Well, I used to call it the boost, and in the last devlog I called it the turbo run, but I finally have a final name for it, called kinetic dash. I was actually deciding to scrap the kinetic dash, because it didn't make any sense. The game's all built around momentum, and just pressing a button to go to maximum speed kills the purpose of momentum. However, I ended up coming up with a new idea for this. Instead of giving you max speed, kinetic dash will only maintain your speed now. For instance, if you start sliding down a hill and gain a lot of momentum from that, you can actually use a kinetic dash to go up any slope and you won't lose any speed by it. That being said though, you can't use a kinetic dash whenever you want. If you're going downhill and you're using a kinetic dash, you won't gain any speed. I actually really like this feature, because instead of holding down the kinetic dash button the entire time, you actually have to decide if it's a good time to use it or not. The feature I actually decided to tie in with this was wall running. Now, wall running was something I was planning on scrapping as well. Before, you just jump on a wall and Mock would just run across it. There was no input or nothing. Mock would just run straight across the wall. I didn't think this felt good at all. It was really buggy. I actually did remove it from this project for a while. I ended up seeing a game called Prototype and ended up falling in love with the way this wall running worked. I loved how the character could just run straight up a wall or run across it. I wanted to add this to Mock. It took some time, and after a while, I think I came up with something good. If you go straight at a wall, you'll start running vertically up the wall. If you jump at a wall at an angle though, you actually run across the wall. This doesn't mean you can't change directions though. If you're running vertically up a wall, you can change directions and go left or right. There's also being said if you're running left or right on the wall, you can actually turn up the wall. This new wall run mechanic, I actually really enjoy a lot. It's going to be a big part of the game. I'm really excited to get creative with the level design for this. Right now, you can run on any wall as long as you're using a kinetic dash. This might change in the future, but I'm still decided yet. Another thing I'd like to cover in this video is a new camera system. When I was testing out Mock's new movement, platforming was still hard. It was mostly because it was hard to see any platforms in front of me. I decided to take a break and pull out my Switch and start playing some Mario games. I realized how they handled the camera. When you would move the camera up, the camera would actually zoom out, and when you move the camera in, it would actually zoom in. I quickly decided to try to implement this in the Mock. This took a lot longer than I expected, but I'm very happy with the outcome. This made platforming a lot easier. With the new physics and this new camera system, I was able to easily jump across platforms and not fall off. I've also had a lot of positive feedback from the closed testing I did. A lot of people really seem to enjoy this new camera system. It's a lot more dynamic, the camera's no longer stiff. There's just a couple of the features I wanted to go over in this video. There's a lot more to come in the future, but for now I'd like to actually talk about the future of this project and this channel. I actually really want to start getting into devlogs more. I don't want to wait 10 months before recording another one. I'm also trying to make these videos a little bit more professional. Before, all these videos were completely unscripted. This one, I'm actually reading a script right now that I wrote before this, so I'd like to actually hear some feedback if you guys think this is a lot better. These upcoming devlogs are actually going to be really fun. I'm really excited about them. We're going to start getting into things like level design and combat, but I had to really fix these physics first, because if we didn't, it would have been a waste of time with physics that just didn't feel right. That about wraps up this devlog. I'd like to actually hear your guys' opinion on new style of these devlogs. If reading from the script is a lot more professional and a lot easier to understand. I'm also trying to hit 200 subscribers. If you guys can do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I post any updates about Mock, I greatly appreciate that. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the new update to Mock, if you're excited for the future of this project. But I think that's it for this, so I'll see you guys in the next one.